Couples Threesomes 12-pack, books 13 through 24. FFM Threesome Lesbian BDSM Erotica collection. Copyright 2020 by Connie Cuckquean. Narrated by Allison Okeefe. My husband with a hot hitchhiker. Couples Threesomes 13. Only 200 miles to go, Callum said, reading the sign as we whooshed by. I guess it's time, I said mysteriously. Time for what? Callum held the wheel tight and glanced over briefly, watching as my hand crept down to my bare knees and lifted my skirt slowly. Oh, boy, he said, desperately concentrating on the road ahead. The road was thankfully quiet and, more importantly, straight. He didn't have to do much, which was just as well. I was thinking, I began, sliding my hand into the hot crotch of my panties and working down along the groove, that you could set the cruise control on for a couple of minutes. And what can you do in a couple of minutes? I reached my hand across the center console and squeezed at the bulge in his jeans. I can think of something, I said. Callum cleared his throat and smiled. Don't let me stop you. He pressed a button on the steering wheel and set his speed, looking down to my hand as I unfastened the button of his pants. Let me get in there, I hushed, brushing my brunette hair behind my shoulders and turning my baseball cap backwards. Callum and I had been married now for almost a decade, and we delighted in spicing things up in the bedroom. You had to keep things interesting, but at just the right pace so that you weren't out of ideas after a few years. There were plenty of things the two of us hadn't done together, and I looked forward to trying them out in the coming years. Callum's father would lend us the keys to his lakeside lodge once a year every summer. We'd head up there for a debauched weekend of fun, passing the time having sex and trying all manner of different positions as we whiled away the weekend. It was there that I first tried anal. There that I first took a facial. And there that I hoped to try out some of the new toys I'd stowed away in my bags. Now, though, I was keen to get Callum's appetite nice and whetted for the weekend of fun to come. Callum lifted his ass off of the seat as I tugged at his jeans and slid them down. I could see his white Calvins beneath, hiding that delicious cock of his that I'd fallen in love with the first time I spied it. I pulled down the waist, and it popped out, already stiffening from the notion of his roadway blowjob. Fuck, honey, he said, slapping on the wheel. You know just how to get me going. I smiled as I dropped my head to him, pulling out his long, sleek cock that belied his 40 years. The thing looked like it followed a strict moisturizing regime. It was unblemished and clean-cut, with thick veins just beneath the surface that stretched upwards toward the taut, soft pink crown that I eyed now. That's it, he said steadily, looking down his chest as my mouth approached. I jerked him slowly in my fist, and then stuck up my tongue, circling it around the head of his cock, and listening to him exhale in a long, satisfied groan, akin to sitting down after a hard day. Oh, that's fucking good, Lil, he said, putting a hand on the back of my neck and squeezing. I teased around the bulbous head, flaying my tongue on the underside of his cock and smiling at the groaning reaction that escaped him. My mouth finally pressed over him, and I felt his stiffness slide inside me, feeling hard against my tongue and cheeks. Damn, I hope we don't crash, he joked. Imagine they find us like this. The macabre thought made me giggle as I pulled back off him, smiling up into his face. He winked down and then reached over to my side of the car, moving his hand down along my spine. He eased downwards, and I went back to work on his stiffness, thrusting it into my mouth as I felt him pull up my skirt. Truth be told, I'd put it on especially for the journey. Easy access was the order of the day. Shit. If I could have convinced Callum to wear his kilt, I would have. His hand moved down into my ass, and he pushed the thin strip of fabric back against me, teasing down my cleavage until he arrived at my asshole.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?